The whole thing was a con within a con. And I thought I'd performed it well, but I wasn't certain I'd fooled Penn Teller until they offered their guesses at the end of the show. Now you've got to understand, it's one thing to deceive an expert magician for a beat or two, for a moment, catch him or her off guard. That's one thing. But to permanently fool an expert magician means you have to perform something that they cannot possibly reconstruct. The more I thought about it, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I not only permanently fooled them, but I was so sneaky, so tricky, that they didn't even know I had fooled them.
Now it's time to meet our first potential fool. Will you please welcome Mr. Jay Sankey?
In January 2015, I got a phone call from the producers of Penn Teller's show, Fool Us, asking me if I'd perform on the upcoming season. Now, of course, I've been a big fan of Penn Teller's for years. Like so many magicians, I think they've done great things for magic, and so I was thrilled to get the call, and I was really jazzed to share my magic on the show. But as excited as I was, I knew there was no way I was going to focus on just fooling them for two good reasons. First, to my mind, the whole focus so many magicians put on fooling, I'm going to fool you, look, I made a fool of you, that whole thing, I feel, has held the art of magic back from becoming a more relevant and broadly respected art form for literally hundreds of years. All art forms use some form of deception. I mean, you've got painters using a bit of shading to create the illusion of depth. You've got photographers using filter to bring mood to something. You've got, of course, theatrical plays, a whole bunch of people pretending they're acting. And those art forms, they focus on the beauty, the truth, the meaning of what they're doing. The illusion of deception is only a means. It's not the end in itself. But when it comes to magic, so many magicians focus most of their attention just on the fooling. So no surprise, so do the general public. The reality is that 5% of the magicians in the world create the tricks that the other 95% perform. And I've been lucky. I mean, I've been performing and creating original magic for over 30 years, and my stuff's been performed by people like David Copperfield, David Blaine, and I actually hold the world's record for having created more original magic tricks than any other living magician. So with less than 2 weeks before I walked on that stage, I did something really odd, something I'd never done before. I started layering my performance with traps, with cons, with hoaxes, that to the eyes of an expert magician, it'd be obvious, oh, he's gonna do that, oh, he's doing that. But in fact, I was doing none of those things. Just before I headed into my torn and restored card trick, I wanted to give Penn and Teller every reason to strongly suspect I was secretly hiding something, palming something, behind my curled right fingers. And then, after folding the cards a few times, I wanted to give them every reason to believe that I had just secretly loaded that something behind the cards. Magicians have been inventing ways to create the illusion of tearing and restoring cards for hundreds of years. And absolutely every method has involved the secret use of an extra piece or two, so the card can be closely examined at the end. Or the illusion is created by the card actually being torn in some small way, and the card can't be examined at the end. All the methods in the history of card magic rely on one of those two principles, except for one.
I'm going to have the two cards for your entertainment pleasure. They're going to exercise together. Watch. Both cards, they go down, they touch their toes. Kind of weird, I know. I'm a Canadian, what can I say? They go back, they touch their heels. They bend it half, kind of going cross-eyed, I guess, Jonathan, you could say, and back this way. Now, notice, they're working out, but they forgot to warm up. So this is the risk of tearing muscles. Sometimes, even the risk, I don't like this part, of tearing ligaments. Now, my job, as a magician, the way I see it, Jonathan, is to try to restore things, to put the pieces back together. So look, I'm gonna take a bunch of the pieces, and I'm gonna just heat them up, a little bit there. And in fact, I'm also gonna use some static electricity. Luckily, I've got enough hair on my arms like a baby gorilla. So what I can do is hopefully take the pieces, take about half in each hand, rub a little bit there, and we should see that now, yes, the cards are still scarred and they're still hurt, but ladies and gentlemen, you can see both cards are now totally back together and completely examinable for you.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, most kind.
When I first published my original cardboard contortionist routine back in the 1980s, it was considered a groundbreaking approach to this classic effect. The illusion involves an entire collection of unusual feints, ruses, and sleights, all designed to avoid the use of any extra pieces. And then came what I hoped would be the most powerful moment of misdirection in my entire performance: the false ditch of pieces behind my neck. For centuries, magicians have been secretly dropping stuff behind their shirt collars while rubbing cards and coins in their elbows. It's such a standard technique, I hoped Penn Teller might believe I used it. The whole thing was a con within a con. And I thought I'd performed it well, but I wasn't certain I'd fooled Penn Teller until they offered their guesses at the end of the show. When it came time to guess the secrets behind the torn and restored cards, and Penn said,
I love how you look when you show off the hair on your arms. You know what I'm talking about.
I knew without a doubt they had fallen for the ruse, and I had 100% definitely fooled Penn and Teller. Which only leaves the question, when they declared that I hadn't fooled them, why didn't I challenge them? Why didn't I reveal to them that I had in fact fooled them? First, I didn't want to be impolite. I mean, it may sound silly, but you know, I'm a big fan of Penn and Teller, and I thought they were so gracious to ask me to come on their show, and I wanted to be an equally gracious guest. There was also something delicious, something especially cool about having not only fooled these two master magicians on national TV, but I fooled them in such a way that they didn't even know I had done it.
Boy, we loved you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, yes, look. It's going through the middle of the deck, and I'm gonna try to see if I can pull his one. It's burning my fingers. It's right like this. Look. Burnt right through every card except for one card.